it's so good to see you. Welcome to Stories from the Cabin. Come on in. It's great to see you again. Are you ready for some stories? Marla and I are. There you are. Our first book is The Paper Bag Princess. Story by Robert Munch. Art by Michael Marchenko. I think I said that right. I hope I did. And this one goes to Sophie. Elizabeth was a beautiful princess, and she lived in a castle and had expensive princess clothes. She was going to marry a prince named Ronald. Unfortunately, a dragon smashed her castle, burned all her clothes with his fiery breath, and carried off Prince Ronald. Elizabeth decided to chase the dragon and get Ronald back. She looked everywhere for something to wear. But the only thing she could find that was not burnt was a paper bag. So she put on the paper bag and followed the dragon. He was easy to follow because he left a trail of burnt forests and horses' bones. Finally, Elizabeth came to a cave with a large door that had a huge knocker on it. She took hold of the knocker and banged on the door. The dragon stuck his nose out of the door and said, "Well, a princess. I love to eat princesses, but I've already eaten a whole castle today. I am a very busy dragon. Come back tomorrow." And he slammed the door so fast that Elizabeth almost got her nose caught. Elizabeth grabbed the knocker and banged on the door again. The dragon stuck his nose out of the door and said, "Go away. I love to eat princesses, but I've already eaten a whole castle today. I'm a very busy dragon. Come back tomorrow." "Wait," shouted Elizabeth. "Is it true that you are the smartest and fiercest dragon in the whole world?" "Yes," said the dragon. "Is it true," said Elizabeth, "that you can burn up 10 forests with your fiery breath?" "Oh, yes," said the dragon, and he took a huge, deep breath and breathed out so much fire that he burnt up 40 forests. "Fantastic," said Elizabeth, and the dragon took another huge breath and breathed out so much fire that he burnt up 100 forests. "Magnificent," said Elizabeth, and the dragon took out another huge breath, but this time nothing came out. The dragon didn't even have enough fire left to cook a meatball. Elizabeth said, "Dragon, is it true that you can fly around the world in just 10 seconds?" "Why, yes," said the dragon, and he jumped up and flew all the way around the world in just 10 seconds. He was very tired when he got back, but Elizabeth shouted, "Fantastic, do it again!" So the dragon jumped up and flew around the whole world in just 20 seconds. When he got back, he was too tired to talk, and he lay down and went straight to sleep. Elizabeth whispered very softly, "Hey, dragon." The dragon didn't move at all. She lifted up the dragon's ear and put her head right inside. She shouted as loud as she could, "Hey, dragon!" And the dragon was so tired he didn't even move. Elizabeth walked right over the dragon and opened the door to the cave. There was Prince Ronald. He looked at her and said, "Elizabeth, you are a mess. You smell like ashes and your hair's all tangled and you're wearing a dirty old paper bag. Come back when you're dressed like a real princess." "Ronald," said Elizabeth, "your clothes are really pretty and your hair is very neat. You look like a real prince, but you are a bum." And they didn't get married after all. Marla, our next book is Corduroy by Dawn Freeman. And this is for our special friend Danielle. Are you ready? Here we go. Corduroy is a bear who once lived in the toy department of a big store. Day after day, he waited with all the other animals and dolls for somebody to come along and take him home. The store was always filled with shoppers buying all sorts of things, but no one ever seemed to want a small bear in green overalls. Then one morning a little girl stopped and looked straight into Corduroy's bright eyes. "Oh, Mummy," she said, "look, there's the very bear I've always wanted." "Not today, dear," her mother sighed. "I've spent too much already. Besides, he doesn't look new. He's lost the button to one of his shoulder straps." Corduroy watched them sadly as they walked away. "I didn't know I'd lost a button," he said to himself. "Tonight I'll go and see if I can find it." Late that evening, when all the shoppers had gone and the doors were shut and locked, Corduroy climbed carefully down from his shelf and began searching everywhere on the floor for his lost button. Suddenly he felt the floor moving under him. Quite by accident, he had stepped onto an escalator, and up he went. Could this be a mountain, he wondered? I've always wanted to climb a mountain. He stepped off the escalator as it reached the next floor, and there, before his eyes, was the most amazing sight. Tables and chairs and lamps and sofas and rows of beds. "This must be a palace," Corduroy gasped. "I guess I've always wanted to live in a palace." He wandered around, admiring the furniture. "This must be a bed," he said. "I've always wanted to sleep in a bed." And up he crawled into a large, thick mattress. All at once he saw something small and round. "Why, here's my button," he cried, and he tried to pick it up. But like all the other buttons on the mattress, it was tied down tight. He yanked and pulled with both paws until pop! Off came the button, and off the mattress Corduroy toppled. Bang! Into a tall floor lamp, and over it fell with a crash. Corduroy didn't know it, but there was someone else awake in the store. The night watchman was going on his rounds on the floor above. When he heard the crash, he came dashing down the escalator. "Now who in the world did that?" he exclaimed. "Somebody must be hiding around here." He flashed his light under and over sofas and beds until he came to the biggest bed of all, and there he saw 2 fuzzy brown ears sticking up from under the covers. "Hello," he said. "How did you get upstairs?" The watchman tucked Corduroy under his arms and carried him down the escalator and set him on the shelf in the toy department with the other animals and dolls. Corduroy was just waking up when the first customers came into the store in the morning, and there looking at him with a wide, warm smile was the same little girl he'd seen only the day before. "I'm Lisa," she said, "and you're going to be my very own bear. Last night I counted what I'd saved in my piggy bank, and my mother said I could bring you home." "Shall I put him in a box for you?" the saleslady asked. "Oh, no, thank you," Lisa answered, and she carried Corduroy home in her arms. She ran all the way up 4 flights of stairs into her family's apartment and straight to her own room. Corduroy blinked. There was a chair and a chest of drawers, and alongside a girl-sized bed stood a little bed just the right size for him. The room was small, nothing like that enormous palace in the department store. "This must be home," he said. "I know I've always wanted a home." Lisa sat down with Corduroy on her lap and began to sew a button on his overalls. "I like you the way you are," she said, "but you'll be more comfortable with your shoulder strap fastened." "You must be a friend," said Corduroy. "I've always wanted a friend." "Me too," said Lisa, and gave him a big hug. The next book we're reading is one of my all-time favorite books. It's Sleeping Dragons All Around, and it's by Sherry Finch and illustrated by Michelle Needenoff. I hope I said that right. This is for our special friend Suzanne. Here we go. Sleeping dragons all around. Shh, shh. There are sleeping dragons all around. So I must tiptoe, tiptoe softly as I pass. When there are sleeping dragons all around, I must be quiet. I must not make one sound. The dragons are asleep, but I'm awake. I've got to get downstairs for some mocha maple chocolate cake. So shh, shh, tiptoe, tiptoe, here I go. Over there on a quilt of saffron and silk lies Priscilla in pink pantaloons. Priscilla prefers marabou furs, and her earrings are blue balloons. Priscilla's the queen of the movie star scene. Asleep she appears most gentle. But I've heard it said that when not in bed, she's extremely temperamental. So I must tiptoe, tiptoe softly as I pass. Fagin the dragon's a hideous sight. His scales are gold, they glitter at night. He has spiked his hair and dyed it green. He shrank his shirt in the washing machine. What is most bizarre is the silver star that Fagin wears through his nose. Fagin smells like onions and sleeps here when it snows. And so, plug my nose, here it goes. I must tiptoe, tiptoe softly as I pass. In our tub sleeps Beelzebub, surrounded by suds and soap. With a snorkel on her snout, she breathes through a periscope. Beelzebub blows blue bubbles as she dreams away her troubles. Sometimes she leaves puddles on the bathroom floor. If Beelzebub get out of her tub, I'll get wet, I bet. So I must tiptoe, tiptoe softly as I pass. Glump is simply a dimplish, limpish, balloon belly, a slumpish lump, a wimp of a dragon with his tail zigzagging around the room, his chin hugging along the floor with hiccups like nobody's heard before. The whole floor shakes, but Glump never wakes, I hope. So I must tiptoe, tiptoe softly as I pass. Over there, by the stair, sleeps the dragon Pythagoras, a dragon of dreadly precision. His obsession is mathematics. He's unusually adept at division. The dragon Pythagoras counts in his sleep. I strongly suspect that he tabulates sheep. The dragon Pythagoras drutters away until night has melted into day. Numbers, numbers, infinitesimal. I love numbers, especially decimals. And so, with a 1 and a 2 and a 3, I must tiptoe, tiptoe softly as I pass. Ching Chong hangs upside down in his majestical, ancestral, pure silk gown, crimson, amethyst, silver, and gold. He is 1,002.5 years old. Ching Chong sings of dragonish things. Where is the butter in a butterfly's wings? Ching Chong snores through his ancient nose. The fire he breathes might burn my toes. I wish I'd brought the garden hose. So I tiptoe fast past Ching Chong. There in his lair, in a rocking chair, sleeps old Jebediah Jones. His skin sags like garbage bags, brittle are his bones. Jebediah has 3 long whiskers sprouting from his snout. Occasionally he uses tweezers and tries to pluck them out. He smells a bit like medicine that's gone a little stale. He daily swallows vitamins and drinks golden ginger ale. And even though his stomach droops as if he's wrapped in hula hoops, one can always hear him hum some ancient dragon hymn each and every night when Jebediah comes in. So I must tiptoe, tiptoe softly as I pass. Stretched out flat on my trampoline is that muscular dragon, Miss Lindy Lean. She teaches aerobics at the YDCA. She works out with weights at least 4 times a day. Her sneakers are gargantuan, and so is her jogging suit. She maintains a health food diet of salad and yogurt and fruit. Miss Lindy Lean is incredibly keen. Her muscles are mountains, it seems. I think she's even doing push-ups in her dreams. So I must tiptoe, tiptoe softly as I pass. Shh, shh, I'm just about there, even with dragons everywhere. Oh no, I stubbed my toe. I said, ow! And now the sleeping dragons are awake, thundering, blundering, closer and closer. Oh no! They're growling and grumbling, they're crunching and munching. My mocha maple chocolate cake! You bold and brutish Bernstein-bellied beasts! You brash bunch of bedraggled dragons! You gobblers! You thieves! I place my finger on each snout, command them with my loudest shout. Dragons dread, go back to bed. I blink, they shrink, then slink away. Tiptoe, tiptoe, off they go, with their heads hanging low, dragon teardrops in their eyes. And so I yell, surprise, surprise. Since you dragons are awake, I'll give you each one piece of my mocha maple chocolate cake. The cake is delightfully dragon delicious. We dance in the kitchen, we don't do the dishes. And then we all tiptoe, tiptoe softly back to bed. Well, Suzanne, I hope you enjoyed it as much as we did. Now we have another book, Angelina Ballerina. And this is the story by Catherine Holabird and illustrations by Helen Craig. And this one goes to our friend Catherine, who's a wonderful dancer. More than anything else in the world, Angelina loved to dance. She danced all the time, and she danced everywhere. And often she was so busy dancing that she forgot about the other things she was supposed to be doing. Angelina's mother was always calling to her, Angelina, it's time to tidy up your room now, or please get ready for school now, Angelina. But Angelina never wanted to go to school. She never wanted to do anything but dance. One night, Angelina even danced in her dreams, and when she woke up in the morning, she knew that she was going to be a real ballerina someday. When Mrs. Mouseling called Angelina for breakfast, Angelina was standing on her bed doing curtsies. When it was time for school, Angelina was trying on her mother's hats and making sad and funny faces at herself in the mirror. You're going to be late again, Angelina, cried Mrs. Mouseling. But Angelina did not care. She skipped over rocks and practiced high leaps over the flower beds until she landed right in old Mrs. Hodgepodge's pansies and got a terrible scolding. At playtime, she twirled and spun around the playground so fast that none of the little boys in her class could catch her, and they were all very cross. After school, she did a beautiful arabesque in the kitchen and knocked over a pitcher of milk and a plate of her mother's best cheddar cheese pies. Oh, Angelina, your dancing is nothing but a nuisance, exclaimed her mother. She sent Angelina straight upstairs to her room and went to have a talk with Mr. Mouseling. Mrs. Mouseling shook her head and said, I just don't know what to do about Angelina. Mr. Mouseling thought a while, and then he said, I think I might have an idea. That same afternoon, Mr. and Mrs. Mouseling went out together before the shops closed. The next morning at breakfast, Angelina found a large box with her name on it. Inside the box was a pink ballet dress and a pair of pink ballet slippers. Angelina's father smiled at her kindly. I think you're ready to take ballet lessons, he said. Angelina was so excited that she jumped straight up in the air and landed with one foot in her mother's sewing basket. The very next day, Angelina took her pink slippers and ballet dress and went to her first lesson at Miss Lily's ballet school. There were 9 other little girls in the class, and they all practiced curtsies and pliés and ran around the room together like fairies. Then they skipped and twirled about till it was time to go home. Congratulations, Angelina, said Miss Lily. You are a good little dancer, and if you work hard, you may grow up to be a real ballerina one day. Angelina ran all the way home to give her mother a big hug. "I'm the happiest little girl in the world today." And from that day on, Angelina came downstairs when her mother called her. She tidied her room and she went to school on time. She helped her mother make cheddar cheese pies, and she even let the boys catch her on the playground sometimes. Angelina was so busy dancing at Miss Lily's that she didn't need to dance at supper time or bedtime or on the way to school anymore. She went every day to her ballet lessons and worked very hard for many years. Until at last, she became the famous ballerina, Mademoiselle Angelina, and people came from far and wide to enjoy her lovely dancing. Oh, I hope you enjoyed that as much as I did. Our next book is The Balloon Tree by Phoebe Gilman, and this one goes to our friend Riley. Long, long ago and far away across a wide ocean, there was a small happy kingdom. In a big castle at the top of its highest hill lived the king and his daughter, Princess Leora. Princess Leora loved playing and singing and dancing, but most of all she loved balloons. The castle was always full of them. Then one day messengers came with an invitation for the king. "His Majesty, the great King of Kelowna, invites His Majesty to a royal tournament. Please bring your bravest knights." "Can I come too?" Princess Leora asked. "I'm sorry," said her father, "not this time. But I won't be gone long, and your uncle will look after things here. I want you to help him." "Not the Archduke," Princess Leora said. "I don't like him. He's grumpy and he never plays games. And what will I do if something goes wrong?" "Don't worry," said the king. "You can always signal me. Just gather a bunch of your balloons and release them from the tower. Wherever I am, I will see them and come home right away." He kissed his daughter goodbye and rode off. As soon as the king had gone, the Archduke rushed in with the meanest guards in the kingdom. "At last, the chance I've been waiting for. Now I will be king." Guards locked the princess in a room and destroy all her horrible balloons. Destroy every balloon in the kingdom. Pop, wham, kablam! Princess Leora could hear the sound of balloons popping everywhere. How could she signal her father if she had no balloons? But there was something the Archduke did not know about, a secret passage that led to the chamber of Leora's friend, the wizard. Quickly, she slipped through the small opening behind a curtain and entered a dark, twisting staircase inside the walls of the castle. At last she came to the wizard's chamber. "You must help me," whispered Princess Leora. Quickly she told the wizard that the evil Archduke had done. "There's only one thing to do," said the wizard. "Find one whole balloon. Before the next sunrise, plant it under the tree that grows in the courtyard and say these magic words. Moon balloon, tickle the tree. 4 balloons, more balloons, blossom for me." The sun was setting as Princess Leora slipped through the castle gates to begin her search. She visited the richest lord in the city, but all his balloons had been broken. She asked the butcher. She asked the baker. She asked the old toy maker, but no one had any balloons. She looked through dark alleys. She hunted in the empty marketplace and knocked on every door. At last, dawn was near, and there was nowhere else to look. Sadly, Princess Leora sat down by a small cottage. The little boy who lived there heard her and came to the window. "Princess Leora, what are you doing out there in the dark?" he asked. When the princess told him why she had to find a balloon before morning, a strange look came over the boy's face. "I can help you," he said, and he ran off inside and came right back with a balloon. "When I heard all the balloons popping, I hid my last one at the back of my closet. I wanted to keep it, but you need it more than I do." Princess Leora thanked the boy and ran back through the empty marketplace, past the stores of the butcher and the baker and the old toy maker, past the rich lord's house, and through the castle gates. The moon was just beginning to fade when she came to the tree in the courtyard. She knelt down next to it, dug a hole, and planted the balloon in it. Then she said the magic words, moon, balloon, tickle the tree. 4 balloons, more balloons, blossom for me. Suddenly, the tree began to quiver. Tiny balloons blossomed on it and began to grow bigger and rounder. Princess Leora reached up to touch one, and hundreds came floating down. More and more balloons blossomed from the tree until they filled the whole courtyard. As the sun rose, they drifted through the gate. People leaned from their windows and rushed into the streets, shouting and pointing and laughing. "Pop those balloons!" the Archduke shouted to his men. But whenever they tried, the magical balloons whizzed away. Before long, the whole city was filled with balloons. All the shopkeepers had to close their doors. All the chickens had to fly their coops. All the traffic had to stop. Still the tree kept blossoming. All the workers had to play. All the schools had to close. Balloons were everywhere. Still the tree kept blossoming. The Archduke jumped up and down with rage when he saw his guards couldn't pop the balloons. He rushed at the tree with his spear, and suddenly a balloon blossomed on its point, and he bounced right back on his bottom. Just then a balloon burst forth from the end of each spear. Madder than ever, the Archduke ran after Princess Leora, shouting, "I'll get you for this!" Far away, the king was riding through a dark forest when he saw a balloon caught in the branch of a tree. He thought that was a strange place for a balloon to be, but when he came to the edge of the forest, he saw something even stranger. When the king galloped into the courtyard, he could see the Archduke screaming at the princess. "You spoiled everything," he was shouting at her. "It isn't fair. I want to be king." "Princess Leora was right about you, you traitor," the king thundered. "Knights, put the Archduke and his men right where they belong, in the dungeon." Then the king invited everyone in the kingdom to the biggest party there had ever been. The people played and danced and sang. Princess Leora opened the royal treasure chest and gave everyone a present. The balloon trees stopped blossoming as the moon rose, but the party went on and on into the night. All the people stayed up past their bedtime. As for the Archduke and his men, they were in the dungeon for a long, long time. But they were never bored. They were kept very busy blowing up balloons.